Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Fran, I'm from Venezuela, and today we're going to be watching a video that looks very interesting. It's called Australia versus UK Christmas, which is better? I really like Christmas. It's a wonderful time. It's very different. And I love the twinkling lights and how cold it gets and how you can get you're like drinking hot chocolate when you're like decorating your gingerbread house and you're baking cinnamon cookies. So it's a wonderful time, but I'm curious to see how Australia does it because they're in the southern hemisphere, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, gets, it's the opposite from the rest of the world. So when it's winter for everyone else, they're actually in the summer. So it's probably weird to have a Christmas when it's in the middle of like a heat wave. It doesn't really go along with what you think it's, Christmas, because you relate to Christmas with winter. So let's check it out, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. So let's hit play.
Let me get it right, come on. How different is a Christmas down under?
A Santa surfing, because obviously it's full of beaches, but obviously Australia is a wonderful place. But when I think of Australia, I think of summer, I think of beaches, I think of, like middle of July, but obviously they're like, no, it's different for us. And they probably do have Christmas. I think they open presents, of course, but it's probably they don't have like their pajamas with their little like knit sweaters, because it's hot. It's the middle of the summer. But it's really funny to think of like it's the opposite. It's a summery Christmas, which looks like an oxymoron, but probably it isn't.
Well, in the UK, they paint the iconic picture of a beautiful white Christmas. But in reality,
it's perfect. Yeah, when I think of the UK, it's like, yeah, of course, you have like a lot of snow. It's like the perfect, when I think of like a picture perfect Christmas, I think of something like a lot of snow, a little cabin, you just cut down your tree, it smells like pine, you're decorating, you have a lot of like twinkling lights. But it's also quite cold, which is, it's not always a good thing. So you probably you fare better in Australia because you're not having like 3 layers of clothing.
All just a pack of lies. One of our biggest concerns with moving to Australia was the preservation of a joyful UK Christmas. But as I'm finding with many other things, I think I prefer it in Australia.
Oh, okay, so that's interesting. He prefers the Australian way, which I think it's a little weird, I would guess, because I think, again, I know it's like, probably it's a little cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. You have, if everything is like picture perfect with like a lot of snow and it's cold, but again, like in reality, it isn't that good. I prefer being I don't know, on the beach and drinking margaritas instead of like freezing your ass off cutting down a tree in the middle of a snowstorm.
G'day there guys, how's it going? My name's Ross, and last year I moved from the UK to Australia with my family to start a better life.
You're petting a kangaroo as if it were, I don't know, a dog or a cat. Well, no, not a cat, but a dog. That's so like only in Australia.
Our channel is all about showing you our new Australian lifestyle with the hope of helping and inspiring you to also make the move yourself. The first great thing about Christmas in Australia is the weather. Who wouldn't want 30 degrees, beautiful blue sunshine? It genuinely makes you want to be outside. It actually feels a little bit like a shock to the system not being in eternal darkness all the time.
Yeah, because it's not constantly rainy and it's not gray all the time, and you actually get sunlight, so you're probably not depressed all year long.
In a weird way, it makes you forget all of the Christmas decorations, but it makes you wonder, are they only really there to gloss over the dreariness of that time of year? In the UK,
you know what, he has a good point. Yeah, maybe all of those little lights and all those Christmas decoration and all the ambiance is there to get out of your mind that you're not actually having a good time because it's cold, it's dreary, it's very, you don't get sunlight, so it's quite depressing actually.
Annual rotation was just waiting for those few weeks of summer and then waiting again.
Oh, and the food, of course. I forgot about the food. Yeah, like one great thing about Christmas is the food, of course. But obviously each country is going to have its own like cultural things and traditional dishes that they eat around Christmas.
We can combine the best bits of the year into one massive celebration. The next thing is that the decorations are different. I know you're wondering.
Yeah, come on,
Christmas
decoration. Oh, because they have like Santa's surfing, or Santa's like I don't know, sun tanning or something like that. It's gonna be something like that.
Be different.
Like a Santa with sunglasses.
Now I love a traditional Christmas decoration, but I can also understand that you get bored of the same ones every year. Aussie decorations
Not
to us
to me. I think I love like getting my tree up and thinking of like a color scheme for my tree. I love all that process.
New, and they're summery, and they showcase a different aspect of Christmas that is really quite nice. Cards have little koalas.
Oh my god, okay, I have to say, I love it. You know, a koala bear with like a little scarf and a Christmas hat. Oh my god, that's adorable.
And apparently there's a thing called a Christmas bush. No, it's not what you're thinking. Even our wreath on our front door is all summery with Christmas.
Okay.
Now I know
it's pretty cool, I have to admit.
It's not the same, but the difference breathes a new life into what is Christmas. Now the next one, you don't
I love
really
the fact that they have like the same things, but it's summer. Like imagine Christmas ornaments and decorations, but it's summer and not winter. Not traditional like snow-capped things. It's just like summer.
Kind of do it all the time anyway. But when you think about Christmas in the UK versus the Christmas in Australia, being outside makes a fantastic
difference.
The
Bonus
UK
point,
weather
pretty
clearly
big.
dictates that Christmas is indoors, and not only can being cooped up all day give you a bit of cabin fever,
but it's also
makes
pretty
you
good because you have like you have like lit up a fire and you're in the chimney and you're like drinking hot cocoa. I mean, like that's also pretty nice, but obviously it's probably better to like go outside and have a walk, or I don't know, like spend time outdoors.
Consider things like who's going to host, because it basically depends on how many people you can fit in your house. Not only are Australian houses generally bigger
It's
than
true.
mine,
Also, UK houses are like tiny, so it's that he also has a good point, because I think obviously Australia has like bigger houses, and even I think really like apartments and lofts are even bigger, so you can that's better. But also maybe not, because it's a great UK has like the perfect excuse to not host, because it's like I have a tiny apartment, I can't really like fit in like 5 people in here. So if you're not like a host, you're not in a hosting mood, it's probably best you know, do it in the UK way, because it's like the perfect opportunity to get out of everything. Like I can't host, my apartment's tiny.
In the UK, but the fantastic weather means that you can also go outside because it's not freezing and wet. You can swim in your pool, you can go to the beach, you can even go to the park.
Yeah, but they do that all year round
the space
because they have
is
perfect
absolutely
weather.
limitless. Here you're not hoping that the weather lets up for at least an hour just so you can have an excuse to take the dog around the park without having to get caught in the pissing down of rain, or even if it is raining, just because you want to get outside because the twinkling fairy lights that you keep staring at are giving you a bit of a headache. Or is that the family member that you
He
never...
hates twinkling lights. I'm a Christmas lights lover. So I can't relate. I love twinkling lights.
you see unless it's Christmas and they're already starting to annoy you. Either way, it's a lot easier to escape when you've got somewhere
That's
to go.
true.
Next up, it's the food. Now personally, I love turkey, and I love the thought of a roast dinner with all of the trimmings. Now Australian Christmases involve different roasts and different meats and cold meats, and even a cheeky pavlova.
Oh, they eat
I never
pavlova
really
for
liked Christmas pudding anyway.
That's very interesting. Very gourmet of Australia to have that as a traditional Christmas dish. That's really interesting. I didn't really knew what Australians eat on Christmas for like Christmas dinner.
Anyway, who even likes Christmas pudding? Do you know what I love?
But I have to
more than all
say,
of
the UK has some pretty questionable foods, especially around Christmas. All those puddings, they're questionable to say the least.
that choice.
Yeah.
Here I can have my roast and sit inside with the aircon so that I don't melt in the heat. Or I can take it al fresco and experiment with all the different barbecue
I was gonna
options
think,
and
like,
all the
yeah,
different
they
meats.
probably have like barbecues and Aussie barbecues, you know, around Christmas. So they do like their Christmas meat, you know, like the main dish. They probably roast it on a barbecue. So that's actually pretty interesting too.
But not shrimps though, because that's not a thing. And if you say that phrase in Australia, they're going to revoke your visa and deport you. They'll probably put you on a boat as well. It's cheaper. In Australia, the build up to Christmas is completely different. We don't watch TV here. It's Rubbish. So we don't get the usual adverts with subliminal messaging like watching Strictly Come Dancing or I'm a Celebrity. I can't even remember what the Coca-Cola advert is like or what controversy the John Lewis advert is creating.
He's very British.
Yes, there's decorations in the shops, but it doesn't all feel commercialised, and that's a good thing. A lot of things in Australia are just free.
Okay, yeah, he has a point, because obviously Christmas is made for you to spend more money. Because all those all those times of the Christmas is definitely a time of the year where you're actually you're spending more, and because we're living in a society that is obviously capitalism is the way to go. So it's interesting to, I don't know, because I didn't really thought of the UK as a very like they're trying to sell you something around Christmas, like it's overly overt, but apparently it is. Or maybe in Australia it's just real less. It's they don't really have that much, so the contrast is different. And it's not that in the UK it's like a lot and it's very obvious. It's just that in the Australia it's probably just more subtle.
Anyway, people continue to do that with the Christmas spirit. Christmas is all about the people and the friends and the family, not what you've bought for them. Sure, I miss the Christmas decoration.
He has a point. Yes, of course. Christmas is just spending time with people you love and you care about, whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's your partner or your kids or whatever. It's not about like getting them something or about getting new shiny things. It's not really about that. So it's obviously like very important that you don't really lose track of that, because it's easy to get lost in that thing of like, oh, I have to like get so many presents and I have to buy people like a lot of things. I have to buy a lot of presents for people. Like, it's not about that. It's just about spending quality time with people you love. So he has a good point.
And the lead up to Christmas itself, but I wouldn't trade it in for the dark and grey and cold that it's apparently hiding. Nah. Now, the one good thing about the UK around Christmas is the sports. And in the UK I would normally spend Boxing Day watching game after game of football on the TV. Not rugby, like football. Now in Australia you can do exactly the same thing, but the sport is just a bit different. The Boxing Day test at the MCG is the new reason why male relatives
I didn't know they also had Boxing Day in Australia. It makes sense, obviously they're Commonwealth, come to think about it, but I didn't know, like it didn't really occur to me that they also have Boxing Day.
TV, sinking beer after beer until they fall asleep. But I suppose at least you can just go and wake yourself up in the pool. The good thing is that here, I can spend my Boxing Day doing exactly the same thing.
In nice weather.
Praying that England will at least win a game. But then the day after that, I can catch up on all the UK Boxing Day stuff. So I get 2 days.
Okay, but that's just because of the time difference. So, okay, he's kind of cheating there.
Live, although around that time of year I think my blood alcohol level probably wouldn't allow me to do that, or whether I get up the next day and watch it all on catch up. This is just another example of me getting my cake and eating it. Here we really do get to live the best of both worlds.
Truly taking advantage.
This next one I only have 3 words for you. Christmas in July. Yep, I didn't know that was a thing either. Here July is cooler, not cold, but just a
because again
temperature. Do you know what's better than one Christmas?
So it's actually like colder and it's winter.
Christmas? You're absolutely right. 2 Christmases. Now this year we didn't know it was a thing, so we didn't celebrate Christmas in July. But by looking at loads of other expats' socials, all I could think of was, why the hell aren't I doing this as well? Why aren't I having 2 Christmases this year?
That's weird, because I think it's a marketing tactic. I've never known anyone to actually like do Christmas in July. I think it's just like it's a marketing plot. Their companies trying to sell you things, and it's just like a marketing campaign. But I've never actually seen people do Christmas in July, because I don't know, it's weird. And I don't know if that's even a thing these days. I think it's just like an old thing that I don't think people like do these days, or if it was ever a thing beyond just trying to sell you something.
Want to sweat your balls off in December eating a roast turkey? Well, instead, why don't you just mildly sweat them in July? You can even whip out your old Christmas jumper and sweat some more, and walk around shopping centres while everyone looks at you weirdly and gives you some strange looks. I mean, they normally do that to me anyway.
Again, I think people will look at you weird. It's like, what's happening? But you have the perfect explanation. You're doing Christmas in July, so people are not going to tell you anything. It's going to be like, oh yeah, true, that's a thing.
In Australia, there are already more public holidays than in the UK. so it's not like we need another excuse to have a party. But with Christmas in July, well, we'll do it anyway, because there's beer. Now this last one is more for the teachers,
When don't they
but I
have
suppose
beer?
it's also a massive benefit for the kids. Christmas for me now means the summer holidays. The kids are off school, the holiday's much longer, and generally it's not a mad dash to do things that you're kind of obligated to do just because it's Christmas. It used to be like you do all your Christmas things and then all of a sudden you've got to go back to work. Now it's like there's actually a comfortable buffer either side of Christmas where you can actually get things done or have a little bit of a relax. Maybe even travel a bit if you're a kid.
It's
maybe.
that actually is like a major point for Australia.
Play with some toys. The point is, by making Christmas longer, you can actually enjoy it more rather than just rushing around.
Christmas, when Christmas lasts longer, you can definitely, you have time. But obviously that's a thing for everything. Like if there's if you have time, you're gonna enjoy things. That's just like the nature of life.
And visiting people and probably spending most of your time in traffic. Fundamentally, the key things about Christmas are exactly the same. It's a perfect opportunity to spend time with friends and family, and all of that can still happen. Apart from at the moment, because the international borders are shut. So just have to spend it with the friends I have here, I suppose. Next year, I suppose it would be better.
I wouldn't like to be that guy's friend. He's like, well, what else? I'm gonna have to spend it with friends. I know he's joking, but it's really funny.
Enjoy the best of both worlds while I'm here. We're creating new traditions by combining the old and embracing the new. And right now, I'm not sure about how I'll feel when the inevitable comes and I go back to the UK to spend Christmas in the freezer. I'll probably just end up being that grumpy person in the pub that sits by the fire and moans that
he's probably gonna become the family member that other family members run away from, and they're like, oh, I don't want to spend any more time with like uncle whatever. So he's gonna be like the grumpy old man that people try to get away from.
Nursing a pint of warm beer perhaps. Oh, he's so lucky. What do you think about a summery Christmas? Let us know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and if you want to see what Christmas was like for us last year, well, have a look at that video. It's got a bit of a weird start.
Okay. But yeah, I think he made really good points. I think at the end of the day, like he said, I think it's better to just sort of like combine both things and both traditional things from the UK, but you adapt them to Australia. But because they also have like great things, so why not have, like he said, you can have your cake and eat it too, just like do the best of both worlds. I think I've never experienced like a summery Christmas. To me, Christmas is always like cold, and I in my mind it's always like, yes, you have like a lot of presents in the tree. And the lights, and it's cold, and it's foggy, and it's rainy. But yeah, he has a good point. At the end of the day, obviously it's going to be better to get sunlight and, be happy instead of like being morose and depressed. So he's onto something. But this was a really fun video, and I hope you also enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.